What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Games. I am your host, Todd. It's Thursday. It's Lore Games time. We're all here. We're all having fun. Cannot wait for you guys tonight. But first, just a little bit of housekeeping. Let me show you this. We have a few things coming up. So, adult fantasy news, guys. Tomorrow. Last day for one of our big contests that we've been having. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. Tomorrow is the last day. We're going to be determining the winner of who gets the Bugatti Luggage. This is the Adult Fantasy Bugatti Luggage collaboration. Again, brought to us by Ism Toys and Bugatti Luggage. Thank you guys for hooking it up and managing it and kind of taking care of the contest. Two contests. We were blessed with both of these. We're one of the rare projects to have that. If you want to win the side, I always call it the side bag. It's the crossover bag. All you have to do is go over to Twitter and you're going to be able to find a tweet. You'll be able to find a tweet with this image on it, with the side bag, crossover bag image on it. Go do what it says. It's really simple, guys. All you have to do is like, subscribe, comment, and we will pick a name out of there and we'll forward it over to Bugatti and they will take care of the rest, which is badass. Other news is the carry-on. So if you want to win the carry-on is a secret adult fantasy contest. I'll go ahead and tell you guys now, since you guys are like the in-group here. All you have to do is, it's basically the same contest. Just go over to the Adult Fantasy NFT Twitter page, or hit up our account and check out the pinned tweet. If you hit that pinned tweet, that will take care of it. Okay. And you'll see a lot of subtleties about carry on and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't know which one to go for, just hit us up in Discord. It's really meant to be sort of like a Discord contest. So hit us up in Discord and we'll point you in the right direction. So the end of the contest is tomorrow. So hit it up. You guys can do it. I cannot wait to see who wins both of these. Also, and this is, I know Rageous and a few other people were asking about this. I have feelers out to see if these can actually be available for sale. I don't know yet. I haven't received feedback on that yet. As soon as I know, I will let you guys know, because man, I love that carry-on, dude. I really want that. So yeah, there's been interest in that. We're going to see what we can do about that. So carry-on and the crossover bag contest due tomorrow. So go do it tonight. Don't worry about it. Just go do it. Other news, the judging contest for the biography bounty. If you win, you actually get royalties from the revenue of the next drop, from the character drop. That contest will be over. The contest is over. The judging will be over tomorrow, I believe. We're just waiting for one or two more judges, making sure that everything is taken care of. As soon as we have everything in, we will, see what their votes are, tally the points, and we should be good to go. So if you're waiting on that, just know that you'll probably have it tomorrow. Okay. And with that said, I'm gonna just like turn the mic over here really quick, and we're just gonna start introducing everybody in the game. Let's see. Let me bring everybody back. First I should say, Dusty, do you want to play tonight, or do you want to be in the green room, sir?
Well, I'm here, so I guess I can play. Here I am.
One of us.
Brave man.
That's right. Well, then I shall start with you. So please welcome the one and only Dusty from Adult Fantasy. How you doing, sir?
Well, I went to the dollar store today and I bought some egg rolls and I ate them, and that was a terrible idea. But other than that, I'm doing okay. Everything's good. Everything's fine.
Everybody should shame Dusty for actually eating dollar store egg rolls. Like, that's not something you do, bro.
Salmonella, the new diet rage.
Look, if you ingest enough salmonella, it no longer affects you.
Oh,
no? Well, that's because you're dead.
Build up an immunity. Yeah.
So what you're saying is death is natural immunity?
Yeah.
I mean, it cures most diseases, so.
This is true.
It's the cure for life.
That's right. That's right. End your woes. Die today. All right. Well, great. Glad you're here, Dusty, and I'm glad you're still breathing. And next time, pay a couple bucks more for that egg roll. Okay.
Will do.
Awesome. Tossing it over to the far corner, we have Studio 7.62. You know him as Avery Butterworth. Avery is illustrator, artist extraordinaire, White Wolf Publishing, Heavy Metal Magazine, Image Comics, Origin Comic that's coming out soon. You know him from the Ashcan edition that we just dropped. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome. We have question marks in that. It's great.
I'm fine. A little tired, but I'm all right.
I love it.
It only hurts when I exist.
I'm very tempted to like throw you under a bus just a little bit and force you to show that really cool illustration you were showing us before the show started.
Oh, that's fine. I can show that. That's fine.
Go do it.
Okay, you want me to show
do
that?
it really quick, because this thing is sick. I just want you guys to see what Avery's working on, because homeboy is ridiculous with the skills. While he's getting that ready, I'm gonna say hello to my man Ramel. What's up, man? How are you doing? Ramel is the double threat illustrator extraordinaire, storyteller extraordinaire. How you doing, man? Welcome back. Been a minute.
Yeah. Currently, my entire house smells like smoke because I was cooking some rice last night and fell asleep.
Rice.
So yeah.
Right.
By the time I got up, it was incinerated. The smoke was so thick in my house. It was almost like that morning fog where you gotta.
So, 1, don't fall asleep. 2, that's not the way you make glue. And 3, clearly you need like a smoke alarm hookup, bro.
I do have smoke alarms.
Cool.
Unfortunately,
They work well.
no, unfortunately, the previous owners had one too many. So the genius that came up with the whole smoke alarm concept is that the batteries are low on one, all of them start chirping. So I had to single out which one is chirping because they do that all night and I can't sleep. So you know what I did? Yanked all of them out.
Yeah, I'm sure it was rice. They don't call him the Black Walter White for nothing.
Hey.
All right.
Sorry, Ramel.
Ooh, I got that reference. I got it.
Did Flint get the reference?
Yeah, did you
Don't
get that
even
one,
ask.
Flint?
Don't even ask.
Come on. Of course I've seen Breaking Bad.
You know what?
Come on.
Next week, my name is going to be I Am the Danger. Now.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Look, I know I was in middle school when it came out, but I have seen. No, I'm kidding.
Middle school. Awesome. Well, welcome, Ramel. I'm glad your apartment didn't burn down. Or your house, I should say. Wherever you live, your castle. Everybody's like lighting shit on fire, eating dollar egg rolls.
It's a crazy time.
It really is. Anyway, welcome, brother. Next to Ramel, we've got the one, the only Zachary Arbella. Zach has written 13 novels in the fantasy space. He's phenomenal. He's also writing the very first adult fantasy novel based on the Blood and Metal storyline that we came up with right here on this show, all of us together. I've seen the outline. It's freaking incredible. I am beyond excited for this, honestly. What's up, Zach? How are you? Cool. It's on mute. Let me.
I am the dream. I am a butterfly dreaming of it. I am a butterfly dreaming of a chicken pot pie smothered in sunlight.
Okay, great.
Is that enough for you?
Excellent. I'm glad we have you writing our novel.
No, that's all right. But seriously, folks. No, I'm okay. I'm in a part of Florida that's slowly digging itself out from the hurricane last week, which, by the way, is not something you really should go through if you have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
Especially drunk and or high, which fortunately I was neither because I was too scared to do either.
Well, good. I'm glad you're safe, man. I'm glad your place is still standing, bro. For real.
Yeah, more or less, and making good progress on the book. So look forward to you guys reading it.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Welcome, man.
Yeah,
And
the one city in Florida I refuse to feel sorry for during a hurricane is Key West.
why?
Well, I got a $1,400 ticket in Key West.
How did you get a parking ticket?
No.
Speeding. $1,400 got to be a speeding ticket or a
Wow.
license or something.
No, actually, no. It wasn't even a speeding ticket. I was waiting on a friend.
What was it? Okay, what was it for, man? What did they say it was for?
Oh, y'all gonna make me tell this story. Okay. Apparently, me and a friend were in Key West, and he got stopped for having like blue lights on his bike. So I don't know where I am. You know, he's pulled over, so I'm waiting. You know, maybe less than a block away from him. Cop walks over to me. Hey, let me see your license. Long story short, license was expired, not suspended. So he issued me a ticket, and I had to be to court in 2 weeks. And since I didn't, capious. And when you have a capious and you hire a lawyer, it's automatically $1,000. So on top of that $1,000, a bunch of bullshit that they made up. So $1,400.
Well, good news. The cop is
Hey,
no
I hope
longer-
they get hit by every single hurricane every year from now to the end of my life.
All right. Well, we're praying for the people, some of the people in Key West. Others maybe not so much. That sucks, man. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, that's nuts. Well, all right,
And
Flint. How are you?
You can't run because Key West is just like a big circle.
Yeah, it's an island.
Yeah.
He can't. He's mad because he can't run. Oh man. Hey, Flint.
Hi.
How are you?
You know, I'm having a pretty good day. I upgraded my internet today from 50 megabits per second to a gigabit, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Damn, that's cool.
It's a bit of a difference.
Gigs.
Doing all right.
Awesome. Flint is the co-founder of Adult Fantasy, the genius behind the tech and the case design and all that good stuff. Welcome, Flint.
Hello.
Hi. Awesome. Thank you for being here. And last but certainly not least, Andrew.
Hello.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm here.
You are present. This is true. We can count you as present. So Andrew is a fantastic independent graphic novelist, creator of several books. His latest is Hero. Definitely got to check that out. He's on volume 3 right now, working on that. And he's also the owner, operator, retailer of Misfit Corner Comics in Jacksonville, Florida, the best shop in Florida, in my humble opinion. Not saying that because he's on the show. Genuinely love the shop. It's almost like we've known each other for a long time, and the books you have in your store are exactly to my taste. It's weird.
Yep. Just as long as the checks keep clearing, right?
You damn right. How you doing, man? You okay?
I got you a copy of that comic you wanted, by the way.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you. Awesome. Yes.
I'll just hold it for ransom.
Cross state comic book commerce.
See, now you have leverage.
Yeah, no,
That's
it is
right.
leverage. It's true. Yeah, Andrew always has leverage. That's always good. Oh, wait. Let's see. This is Avery. Avery was going to share. We're going to jump into the story. Avery was sharing this. Avery, can I share this now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, damn, dude. What? Hey, zoom in on the face, would you?
Sure.
Let's see. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that. That's sick, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like AI is interesting because this is like 3 different AI pieces mashed together that I'm painting on.
Yeah, as I was saying in the green room, like, for those that don't know, this legitimately looks like one of Avery's traditional painted pieces. Like I've seen your illustration paintings and they look pretty darn good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I like it. I'm gonna blend some more stuff into it and paint some more stuff in. Maybe tighten up some detail in some places.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done.
Yeah, it's turning out pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Dope.
AI
All right.
is very useful.
AI is very useful, man. I'm starting to do some. I'm going to start doing some streams real soon about how to use Midjourney for our crew for the AF fam.
Oh, very cool.
Because we've gotten some awesome results. All right, let's jump into the lore games. Here we go. So where we've been. I'm not gonna go super quick through this. Well, I will go super quick through this. We have just started the big one sheet. Kind of we've gone through the steps on the clock, step 1 to step 8, and now we're starting to break them up even more. So just to recap, what would I guess the Andrew, you have very good pithiness with words. Do you want to help me go through the story so far so that I don't read everything? You got to unmute your mic if you're there. There you are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
You want me just to tell everybody the high bar story?
Yeah, tell the story.
All right. It's very simple. No, it's not. It's very confusing. It's got a lot of moving parts to it. But the bottom line is this is a 70s cop drama in which a police officer gets conned by a shadow organization to go into a high security prison in order to solve whatever it was he was supposed to solve. We haven't figured it out yet, as well as the death of his father. His father was a undercover cop, was in the prison doing something, and was killed. And he's going in there to solve the murder. What he doesn't know is that this was a prison for superpowered individuals. What he doesn't know is that the organization is setting it up to literally destroy his life on the outside of the prison. So while he's in there, he has to use his wits. He has to use all of his intelligence, all of his skills, all of his strengths in order to solve the crime and escape with his life. And along the way, he meets some very interesting characters, including some that he doesn't realize is actually behind the whole thing. And the bottom line is, when he emerges a completely different character and begins the second chapter of his story. And it's very good. It's very interesting. And we're going to throw some things at you. And the best 2 words to throw at you to give you an idea what the story's about is prison wallet.
That was actually pretty damn good, dude. I gotta give you an applause.
That was very high level.
That was very good.
Very
nice.
high level, but
it's
yeah.
nice to see like when my brilliant ideas stay in the script.
Yes, brilliant.
We're gonna find a way to make it work. Trust me.
Nice.
Yeah, the big things that the takeaway, I think the big things that you alluded to, Andrew, is that this started as one book, and then it morphed basically into one thing, and then it morphed into almost a trilogy. So it's like 70s, the 80s, and the 1990s. So it's turned into an origin story, but it's an origin story that actually takes 30 years of someone's life to get to where they are. Now, we don't know if that's necessarily three books or three graphic novels or something, or if these are just almost like big chapter sets within a graphic novel or comic series or novel or something else. But the evolution and this desire to solve this crime and solve this problem that our main character has takes decades. And I thought that's fascinating. I also like the idea that we're setting up this big the cult. You know, it started with the idea of the cult, and that's actually the overarching it's almost like this behind the scenes thing that we can kind of push even into the prison, where certain things are set up to make it look like it was placed there on purpose to lead our hero to do something or to take some action. So we can set these little dominoes up to make it look like there's this big, huge, you know, entity that's kind of controlling everything, which I think is pretty cool. All right, so we'll just start with the opening image. That's the very first square up here. I'll zoom in. Wrong window. Zoom in. Up here, opening image. Opening image, Nathan solving a crime of some type, possibly a murder. He's a new detective, 1970s, NYC. Clean cut, all-American, solved his first big major crime. He's bullheaded. He tends to rush in without thinking. He saves the day, but he broke the rules just a little bit. Nothing that would get him reprimanded, really. But, you know, he had to do something that would otherwise be seen as, if it didn't work out so well and didn't save the day, he probably would have been reprimanded for it. He jumped the gun, but he got lucky.
He definitely went with his gut.
Yeah.
And he actually was okay. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll even put that one with his gut, because that's exactly right. We may see that.
He kicked in a door, and thank God it was the right door.
Yeah, basically.
Type of thing. Yeah.
Yep. Theme stated: good versus evil. So theme stated is and this happens in most stories, but it's most obvious in film, where some character who is not the main character actually tells the main character what the film is about, basically. Actually states more or less what this whole thing is about. Like a case example would be Loki saying that, like, humans were, what was it, the quote? I have it somewhere, but basically it was like, humans are born to be ruled, right? Like free will is an illusion. You were born to be ruled. Like that is the theme of that Marvel movie, right? So actually I should pull that up, that file up. So theme stated, we have like, that place is not what you think, or one day you're going to kick in the wrong door and become the bad guy. Ain't no one going to come in and save the fallen righteous. That's a good quote. That we thought of his partner or one of his partner that says that, like the old veteran, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Now we move into setup. So setup is in a film script. This is the first 10 minutes. It's basically showing the world, the hero in the world that he lives in before the adventure starts, right? So this is home, work, and play. Set up at home, he's engaged. We thought that his fiance might be like the John Romita Gwen Stacy character, kind of wholesome and, you know, really just kind of perfect. Planning the wedding, organized, he's clean, not OCD, but close. He cuts the crust off of his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Close to his family, especially his dead father. His setup for work: the murderer had escaped the Supermax superhero prison. So he's solving this murder, and you realize that this guy is like a convict. Like he actually like broke out. We introduce his partner's relationship. His partner is the seasoned pro, knew and or worked with his dad, a family friend. Proud of him, but realizes it could have gone, this whole mission could have gone south. Precinct celebrates him for solving a major crime. Play, the setup for play, he's a hero for solving the crime. So the city actually loves him. And maybe there's like a dinner scene with his fiance, and he's like, people are actually like buying him dinner or buying him champagne, or like kind of like a mini Spider-Man effect. You know what I mean? Like we don't need the whole city standing up and like cheering when he walks outside, but people recognize him and thank him, and he feels like a hero. There's also something called the save the cat moment, which we haven't figured out. Save the cat moment is it's your first chance to see this person for the hero that he really will be. Saving the cat is a save the cat moment is literally just that. It's named for that. Like in these older movies, you would see this person who's kind of like a regular Joe, but then he would save a cat from a tree and give it back to the little girl, right? And that moment showed that he would eventually become a hero. Like he actually cared enough to save a cat from the tree, right? We have a little bit of that maybe with saving the city, but we could probably figure out a little more to that. We don't have to knock that out just yet, but we'll have something. We have enough to work on. Catalyst. So the catalyst happens usually around page 12 in a script, like a film script. Like if you think of movies, I think that's easier to think of. The catalyst means that the hero loses the safety of their current state. Something is done to the hero that basically puts them in a situation where stasis equals death. This is the point in the movie where the agents come for Neo when he's working at his office, right? And he actually has to he either makes the choice to stay and get captured by the agents, or he decides, or he gets the phone call and he goes on the ledge and then can't do it because it's too early, and he ends up having to do his debate, and he ends up crawling back inside and being captured. So that's the beginning of that, the catalyst stuff. So Eager Hero, the agency, which is we thought of like the cult of Cobalt Fox. We even thought of maybe making it like the entire organization is actually about granting the mantle of the Cobalt Fox to the next person, and they've kind of chosen him, although Nathan doesn't know this yet. Our hero doesn't know this. So the cult of Cobalt Fox gives him an offer to complete his father's secret mission. Black Ops, secrecy, or a secret organization, only given to heroes, right? So they kind of build it up as like this is like the next step in your heroic journey, and maybe Nathan's ego is actually what leads him to this part. And now we're really at the debate. The debate is the hero doesn't just say yes. In fact, oftentimes they don't want to do this at all. And while it has to be their decision to do so, like they have to make the decision to actually do this. It really is a debate. So we have home, work, and play again. Again, it doesn't have to. We don't have to use all of these, but it depends on how much he's going to have to do this, or how much he's going to have to think about this. And this is actually a really strange one, or an interesting debate, because we're setting up the idea that in order for Nathan to do this mission, he's literally leaving his fiance, right? He's leaving he's like going away. And so what might be interesting, and what I would maybe propose, and we have to kind of do this for everything. He's got to, he doesn't necessarily have, maybe he just takes a sick day off of the force, thinking that it'll be like just a small mission. And of course it turns out that, they frame him for murder and stuff. Or they suggest that he's a murderer. With his fiance, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe he says he has to go on a secret special ops trip, or a trip, or they're putting him on a special mission and he'll be back soon. Something, he has to make the decision to go, but it also, so the conditions have to be right? Like if the organization said, hey, you just have to never talk to your fiance again, he would definitely not do it. So there has to be a little bit of trickery, and he doesn't have all the pieces, but he also has to debate it, right? Like maybe this mission starts and actually their wedding is next week, right? Or like he's going to leave a month before the wedding or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he really has to kind of have a debate about like, well, should I do this or shouldn't I do this? Right. It's the red pill versus blue pill. Right. So let's see. I'll even read it to you. So this is officially what while we're thinking about this is what the debate is. Even if the hero wants to go, it doesn't mean he's able. Many are ready and willing, but held back by a family member or authority figure. So maybe we could do that. His wife doesn't, or his fiance just tells him not to go. Who does not see the hero's true potential. Captain America was that way. Or a villain who wants to keep him down. Harry Potter. Some are held back by their obligations. Luke's uncle forbids him to join the rebellion. Others doubt their own ability, and still others are held back by fear. Fear of personal injury, fear of what others might do or say, fear of what the consequences might bring, which is the Matrix Neo. A very few are held back by circumstances beyond their control, meaning it's really about them. So this is a part for us to kind of figure this out, and then when we can break it in, there's actually some stuff inside of there that we can pull out as well. What do you guys think? As a good, I do like the idea that maybe it's the fiance that says don't go, right? And now he has to choose between his fiance.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right?
Well,
that works.
I have a suggestion. Tell me if this works for you all.
Yeah.
In order for him to debate to go, the risk has to be equal or greater than the reward. So maybe he's debating going because he's lured in by clues about his father's murder.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, basically, if you feed me something, say like he has a picture of his father, and there's a guy in there with a tattoo. And they show him a dossier of a guy with a similar tattoo that might have some involvement with his father's murder, but he's incarcerated in this particular place. And they were like, well, we could get you in next to him or around him, but it would be like a deep cover type thing or something like that. So now he's debating on getting closure for his father's murder or just moving on with his life with his fiance. It's that constant conflict, like, that type thing. So it's whatever you think.
So maybe at work, yeah, like a dossier on his dad, on his father, revealed. Maybe I mean, the way to set up the debate is to show it, right? So at work, there's something about his dossier on his father is maybe revealed, or a lead, which is going to be, which really the organization is probably going to talk to him about. But then he's also like, he's already a hero, right? So like, he's finally achieved some kind of status, and now he's going to leave that. Although I don't know if that's so big. You know what? So what if this? Because this stuff, we're gonna reveal a dossier kind of stuff. What if so his partner or his mentor, the one who is a friend of the dad's, right? Well, he's gonna know. He might not know what happened to Nathan's father, but he knows that Nathan's father died around this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so maybe his partner tells him not to go. Don't end up like your dad. You know what I mean? Something like that.
How about this? He has a picture of his father. It's like it's a tattered picture, but it's like torn. Maybe they he's given part of the setup is he's given the other part of that torn picture to where you put them both together and they make a whole. And on the back of that picture is a number, like not a phone number, but it could be a phone number, or it's something written that leads them further into the story, something like that.
I like that. That actually, so what that actually might be. That's dope. That actually might be, let me copy this. Because what that might actually be is
Inmate number.
like some weird, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
Well,
that's actually the thing.
it could be anything. It could be anything.
Azazel.
Like basically the agent that he meets is like telling him that he can solve the murder of his dad. And of course he's like, well, prove it. And what he does to Romel's point is like gives him the other half of a picture of his dad, right? And we can establish that early on. On the back is a number. And then maybe it's like a inmate number, maybe. Oh, that's kind of cool. Something like that, right? So like that's kind of proof that that's proof that if he does this, that will move him closer to the story. It's not just like it's not just a dossier. It's also like, hey, there's information, and no, look, this is a clue. Like the first clue in his entire life, basically. Which is a cool catalyst moment. Home, I think, Dante doesn't want to go. Want to go. Is she pregnant? Do we add that? Like, is that too much? Like, I don't want you to go. We're getting married, and oh, I'm pregnant. Like,
That might be a touch too much.
Yeah. What's the argument? I mean, obviously, like, the argument could be like, what you signed up with when you got with me, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's a cop, and a rookie cop, so she knew the danger, kind of thing. When he risks his life every day, kind of thing. But now he's going away, right?
Oh, I think she's definitely pregnant. I just don't think she knows yet, because we can definitely play with that later in the story.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even play with it in the second book. Because remember, the part of the idea was that the Shadow Agency destroys his life on the outside to pretty much to incentivize him to do the job inside.
Right.
Because he's stuck there forever. He's not getting out. He has to solve the crime and figure everything out. And when they destroy him with his employer. They destroy him with his partner. They destroy him with his family. And they destroy him with his fiance. To the point where when he gets out, he has nothing left. He has to go the way of the villain because there is nothing left for him at all. They destroyed everything.
Yeah, that could be a motivator for him going evil too, because the people destroying his life are, quote unquote, the good guys.
Yeah, I don't think there was any good guys in this story other than him. And he goes bad by the end, so
it's the slightly gooder guys.
The gooder guys.
There's just different levels of bad.
Yeah. Good and evil really depends on your disposition or your resolve. Because you might be like the whole thing, and I found it interesting with John Travolta's character in Swordfish. He was a good guy, but the extent that he was willing to go to remain good. Remember, he killed a lot of people, but he said, like, look, what if could you kill somebody to save 100 people? That type of thing. He could, because it was the greater good. He didn't mind sacrificing lives in order to save the greater good. So he was a good guy, but his just resolve was questionable.
Right.
It's all based on your point of view, or so says Obi-Wan Kenobi. Please, Flint, don't make me explain that one.
What is a Star Wars?
Oh no.
Oh,
No,
I
I'm
didn't even
kidding, I'm
mention
kidding, I'm
Star
kidding.
Wars. Yeah.
I feel like for the debate home,
mhm.
I feel like we've kind of already said that he's close with his family, right? So I
Yeah.
feel like kind of instead of the fiance, like I don't want you to go, maybe he's letting her down in some way. They're supposed to do something. I don't know, go on a cruise or whatever, right? Go do something like this was going to be their week,
Right.
and he kind of lets her down versus like goes against like her demand.
Right.
Or maybe she had a miscarriage.
And he well,
Maybe. I mean, we just did that. That's the only
Yeah.
thing.
that's true.
Okay.
Other books have miscarriage. It's a thing. But I like I do think though both Ramel and Dusty are kind of on the same tip. Like it's like a honeymoon or something. Like maybe they get married, but they can get married, but the honeymoon trip has to be postponed because he's got to go undercover or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a letter. I like the let downness, and maybe is there anybody else at home? Is there like a mother? Is like his mom around? Like his mom, maybe he has to leave. Maybe he takes care of his mom too, and like she's a little older, and he's like removes that responsibility.
No, if there was an older mother in the picture that he had to take care of, that would give him incentive not to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the debate, right? Like I guess the thing is like in order for his life to completely be destroyed, he's actually the one making that decision right now by disappointing his fiance or his mother or his partner or his job or whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's already telling the people he's actively having to push the people closest to him away, and that's going to bite him in the ass in Act 2. You know what I mean?
I mean, psychologically, I'm there with you.
Yeah. Zach, what do you think, man? Any ideas?
Difficult to say. Question about the fiance. Does she die? I mean, I don't know if we already answered this, but does she die, or is it a whole woman in a fridge scenario, or does she just leave him after he gets framed up?
We hadn't really determined. I think it's actually worse if she just leaves him.
Yeah, I mean, I think plus, I think the whole her dying is, to be honest, at this point, it's kind of an overused trope. So I would say, going away from that. But as far as the debate, which is about why, which I'm assuming is about why he why he wants to look into this. I think it should be more than just him wanting to find out his dad. I mean, the whole point of this guy is that he starts out as basically like very much an ambitious cop, all American, bullheaded, wants to take down the bad guys. So maybe it's not just about him finding out what happened to his dad. It's also him proving himself,
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why he goes into this is let's see, goes into this and wants to follow it up is because, hey, I can find out, this will make my career, I'll have made the big bust, and that everyone will know my name, I'll basically I'll be a hero. So it's a combination of him wanting to avenge his father and mixed with his own ambition. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
At least that's how I would do it. Because just don't it's just him wanting to avenge his dad. That's a little too one-dimensional. The human motivation is never that simple. There's always like multiple things driving us on.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, cool. So we also have play, but before we talk about play, there are two other things that happen inside of the debate area that we can kind of play with. The first is called Meet the Mentor. Meet the Mentor is a well-defined part of many heroes' journeys, but in our kind of tales, like superhero tales, it's really overt. Sometimes the hero goes looking for the mentor, like in Star Wars. Sometimes the mentor goes looking for the hero, like the Matrix. Sometimes they find each other by quote unquote accident, which happened in Zorro. They always find each other in Act 1 and always during the debate. In fact, many times meeting the mentor is what triggers the debate. It is the mentor who helps the hero over that hump into Act 2. Obi-Wan Kenobi asked Luke Skywalker to come with him, offering him a chance to help rescue a princess and join the rebellion, which is Luke's two biggest desires, while learning to be a Jedi like Luke's unknown father, his biggest internal need. Does he have a mentor? I mean, really his mentor is the partner, right? So, I mean,
Well,
his mentor is really the partner.
in a lot of like cop movies where there's movies where there's a young cop whose dad was a cop, and it's always his his dad's old partner who was his mentor. So
Right.
I mean that's kind of a standard trope, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Well, we kind of announced that we already have this, right? Like that's established. So we may have to move a couple things earlier on when it's the partner talking to him about, oh, you don't want to do this. But it does make sense to have the because help him do this, because we're taking everything away from him, but at the same time, like while he's in prison, he's still going to be able to get this, like his phone call or whatever. Like every now and then he's going to be able to get some communication out there. And so I think he needs to have at least one lifeline. And I don't think it's his wife. I think it's the ex-partner, right? Like it's the dad's ex-partner who can kind of be that Obi-Wan kind of older mentor. And then it also could, and actually that would really actually be more about a work thing than a home thing. But it also gives us the ability to Obi-Wan the partner, where like maybe at the end of the day, like at like the kind of the dark night of the soul, it turns out that the partner knew too much because of the communication, and ends up being killed or sacrificing himself. Right? It's just kind of like hits that low point right before the comeback, right? It's the Obi-Wan death, the father figure death before, so that really the hero can become that hero by himself, right? Take the training wheels off. The other thing we have is something called Flushed. So Flushed is the dark night of the soul of the first act. This moment foreshadows and mimics the one the hero will have to face in Act 2B. So Act 2B is the bottom left, like right before it's up. So he's in the worst part of it. It is his stasis equals death moment, and often involves an actual death. It's the moment when the hero must face his own deepest doubts and ask the question, why him? It's the moment when he realizes his world has pushed him out and he must become something new if he is to survive. And he has no idea of what he's really getting himself into. With his, and an example would be with his uncle's guilt trip hanging over him, Luke agrees only to take Obi-Wan to a space station and leave him there. But on the way, they pass Luke's home, where they find his aunt and uncle dead, their bodies and home burned. There's nothing for me here. There's nothing for me here now, Luke realizes, mourning the loss of his old life, even as he turns toward the new. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. In the Matrix, Neo swallows the pill, and as his mind is downloaded from the machines and back into his own body, he is literally flushed out of the system and into the real world. So this is sort of the moment that's like that giant push, where you just kind of like you made the decision and you're getting forced into that new world. So really, this is, I mean, the flush is basically him I would assume it would be him getting like arrested. Right? Does that make sense?
I think when he goes into the jail, he still thinks he's there doing a job and that his life outside is still secure. Something happens that's beyond his control while he's in the jail. And I think there's a good idea about having the mother die. And that being one of the things that connects him to the outside world. And there maybe when he goes into the prison, they want him to do something and he initially refuses. And they end up killing his mother. And they keep telling him, if you don't do what we want, you don't do what we're asking, more and more pieces of your life will be destroyed.
Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's not even that hardcore. Like maybe if you use the mother, like again, this is the flushing out. Like it's just like, you know, Neo literally getting flushed. So this is either him getting arrested, and he's kind of like, you know, like,
well, when he gets arrested, he's going along with it because he knows this is what's being done. It's when he gets inside that all hell breaks loose, and that's because.
Well, so check this out. I mean, you're right. I think the thing that could really kind of like, kick into that is actually like, what if his mom dies? So he gets arrested, and you're right. He's going along with it, right? And he gets arrested, goes to prison. He's there. I don't know if it makes so much sense that it happens like as soon as he gets there, because that's a little convenient. But basically, the mom dies, and he's like, and again, he's playing along with it. This is Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mr. OCD, Mr. Does everything right for the most part, but goes with his gut. And so he learns that his mom dies, and he says, well, I need to talk to the warden or something. Basically that's the trigger to make him learn that he's legitimately a prisoner. Like they're not letting his ass out. He's a fucking prisoner. Right? He's been playing he's playing a game for maybe like the first, you know, I don't know, several minutes or hours or days, but like he has to have a realization, like they're not letting him out. His mother died, and he's like missing the funeral because he's a fucking prisoner. Right?
Yeah.
And he has to live with the fact that she died because he wasn't there.
How about I have a suggestion. How about he receives a text on his phone from a private number, and they're baiting him, and they're saying a life for a life. You visit the prison, you take this guy's life. If not, then you sacrifice your mother. So normally if I get a call like that, I'm like, oh, whatever. So hang up. A few minutes later, he gets a call saying his mother died or some shit like that. And while he's talking on that phone, he gets a text, and they were like, well, next time it may be blah, blah, blah. So through that, they show that they're willing and they're capable, and they kind of have their fangs in him. So he has to kind of bend towards their will. So
I think
it's really the bait that sucks him in. He's good, but he has to commit evil acts in order to obtain that ultimate good, or so he thinks.
I think that might work when we're deeper in the story for sure. I think the problem with doing it this like right here is that it has to be his choice. Like he's like, I have to do this. Like it has to be his will, not against his will. But I think you're right. I think when he's in the prison, you certainly could like you have this organization that now, like, this guy doesn't have a fucking choice. And so they're just like, yo, go on this. Like, there's nothing that says this agency couldn't be like, hey, go take out prisoner number, prisoner in this cell. What do you mean take him out? What do you mean kill him? Assassinate him? I'm not going to do that. Yeah, you will. Right? Like, that could be really interesting, fun and games. Like, and like, that totally shows like some evil shit that's going to be coming, or something like that.
Do we have a name for this prison?
We just called it Supermax right now. I don't know. Andrew's dying to talk. What's up, bud?
Sorry.
No, it's good.
I had a scene in my head. So he goes into the prison willingly. While he's there, the forces that be outside are screwing up his life. They're destroying his reputation. He's being accused of horrendous crimes. And maybe there's a point when he's in there that he's like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to step back, and I need to talk to somebody because there's things going on. I'm being accused of things I never did, so forth. And maybe this is when he first goes to the warden for the first time. Maybe the warden blows him off, just won't listen to him. And I see a scene in which his public defender comes to visit him. His lawyer maybe he demands to see his lawyer, and the lawyer comes in, and the lawyer tells him, your mother's dead. You have a job to do. Do it, or somebody else is going to get hurt. And maybe this is when they reveal to him, do what you're here for, or the next person is your wife and your unborn child. And that's like, oh fuck. And he's at that point, he is totally broken in. He cannot get out. He has to do what it is he's supposed to be there for. Maybe there's a part of him in the beginning, maybe in the few first weeks that he's there, he thinks there's a chance, everything's going to go back to normal. But on the outside, his life is being utterly destroyed. His family hates him. His boss hates him. His ex-partner hates him. His wife hates him. And he wants to go, no, this is all a setup. And he wants to blow the whistle. And they shut him down by killing his mother and threatening his wife and their unborn child. And he's like, I am utterly committed at this point. I'm not sure exactly where that would work in the story, but I see that scene as being a huge gut punch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really like the, oh god, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, in my mind, that's one of those scenes where you're watching the movie and you go, oh shit,
I really like that, and building off of that, it'd be interesting, and again, kind of a gut punch, if he finds out that all of these bad, life-destroying things about him that are getting spread outside the prison, if he finds that out from his visitation with his wife or something, they're sitting across,
even if it,
she's like, how could you,
yeah, or even to make it even worse, Flint, like if she doesn't even visit him, he sees it on like the prison television, and it's like an interview, and she's like on TV, and you know what I mean? Like he doesn't even have contact with her. He learns about the divorce or whatever, like from like a prison TV with like closed captioning or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ooh, what if he's watching like a newscast and she's like coming out of the grocery store and the news reporters are flooding her and saying, hey, what do you think about this that he's been accused of and this thing? And she's like trying to get away from him. Maybe she trips and falls and he's like watching it on TV as it's happening, and there's absolutely nothing he can do.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, that would frustrate the hell out of me.
Yeah, helpless.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a layer to add to that. Let's say he's communicating with these people, and they're like saying, "Hey, you have to do what we say," but he doesn't know that his wife is pregnant. And like I said, to add on to your scene, he's like, "Yeah, you and your unborn child," and he's like, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah is not pregnant. and they say, well, she was going to tell you while you all were having dinner, but you left out before she had a chance to tell you. So at that point, he knows he's been watched for a while. That type thing.
Yeah, I think this is I'm not sure where it comes in the story. You can find out where it comes, but it's a literal breaking point in his character. It's the fact that while he's in there, he's actually pushing back against the group that sent him in there in the first place. He's like starting to question things. He's starting to, push back against the idea that he's in there and what he's there doing. And this incident happens, and they threaten his wife and unborn child, and that's it. He's utterly committed. There is no pushback. There is no nothing. This is the point where he is do or everybody dies type of thing.
So what happened? So really quick, mother dies, wife leaves him.
Mother's killed. Mother's murdered, but maybe it's supposed to look like she died. Maybe he gets word that she's dead, and his lawyer comes to meet him and talk to him, and pretty much implies, we did this, and if you don't get back on track and do what you're supposed to do, your wife's next.
I don't know. I still like the idea that we can it's such a good reveal that this really nice, good agency slowly dissolves into like obvious evil. I mean, maybe it can come later, but okay. But at least in like, how does his life fall apart? So we got the mother dies or is killed. The wife leaves him. He learned that he's been watched for a while. So this is not like something like brand new. It wasn't it wasn't him solving this capital crime that made them pay attention. They've been watching him for maybe years or something. What else could destroy his life?
The crimes he's accused of is probably the main thing. You might he's like Jeffrey Dahmer. Right. The more it gets revealed, he murdered somebody, then he ate somebody, then he had sex with their skull, stuff like that. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Really, Andrew?
It just keeps getting more and more like a Tuesday.
Yeah, for Andrew.
I'm just saying. No,
for some reason, I had that quote from Arlie Ermy in Full Metal Jacket, said where he told Vincent D'Onofrio, "Skull fuck you."
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well, I'm just saying we could come up with some stuff that it could be disturbing, and it can get worse and worse.
It doesn't get any worse than skull fucking. I'm sorry.
Well,
and that's all, folks. Have a good night.
Is that the quote? That'll be the description for the video.
Ask me when I first saw that movie. The answer is Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways,
that's the description for YouTube. Skull fucking and other debates.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
demonetized.
So
really. AKA Tuesday.
AKA Tuesday. So all right, so we have this like flushed scenario where we've got he gets arrested. I love the idea that maybe privately the agents come and he's like, he shows up, or he's supposed to show up at a certain place, a certain time or something. And the agent shakes his hand almost like, welcome to the agency. And then basically throws him around and like cuffs him to a surprise. And then it's like public, like there's paparazzi, like photographs, like he's already being humiliated. Now we get into break into two. So the break into two is Act 2A. So this is technically known as the Mentor's World. So I wonder if this would maybe tie into the well, maybe that's a debate on who the mentor is then, because we did talk about Cobalt Fox being almost a mentor, like the original.
Yeah, I think in
Yeah,
the prison, the original Cobalt Fox is the mentor.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so maybe he has two mentor. We'll figure that out. Mentor's world. The hero's introduction to the upside down world of Act 2 is messy and funny and busy and chaotic and dangerous and like absolutely nothing he has ever prepared for. It is the mentor's world. And fortunately for the hero, the mentor knows what he's doing. It is Obi-Wan who takes charge as they enter Mos Eisley spaceport, and he who gets them past the guards by using Jedi mind trick, a simple but powerful taste of what's to come. And then the theme, and then you introduce the theme. The theme is the second one. So Mentor's World, and then the theme. The theme of Act 2 usually is, quote, learn to control yourself. That's usually the theme of Act 2 for heroes. And an important step for any hero. When a bar patron is ready to attack Luke, it is Obi-Wan who comes to his defense, first with calm words and the offer of a drink, and then the lightsaber. When Luke is ready to lash out at Han Solo's insults, it is Obi-Wan who lays a hand on his arm to calm him down. Controlling his emotions will be Luke's biggest obstacle throughout the trilogy. So the theme is learn to control yourself. So I think that's actually pretty fun. And we can talk about mentor. I think in our thing, Mentor's World actually comes after theme. If the mentor in the prison is actually going to be Cobalt, then the theme might come first because he hasn't met Cobalt yet. And the learn to control yourself is actually pretty interesting because like this is going to be great because and this is why it might be funny. One, he doesn't have control. We've established that, right? He kind of goes from his gut and kind of acts quick. But even more important is that he's a cop. So he's going to see like somebody like pocket, like maybe he's in the lineup, like when you're getting like body checked as you get into the prison, maybe you see
the cavity search.
Yeah. Maybe you see somebody like pocketing a knife or doing like hiding a weapon or doing something. He's a cop. So his reaction is going to be to like tell the cops. Basically, his goal is going to be to snitch. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a criminal in his mind.
Idea.
So
yeah.
So the control yourself is about acting in a new way. You know what I'm saying? Like he snitches and then he gets his ass beat.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that. He needs to get his ass beat. I mean, royally get his ass beat.
I was just thinking about an aspect that we could do. Maybe when he goes into the prison, he's supposed to have a contact in the prison, kind of like a what do you call it when you have a contact?
Contact.
A handler, somebody inside that he can trust, and maybe that's the person he snitches to. Maybe it's a guard, maybe it's somebody like that, and they're the ones that initiate the punishment on him, and he realizes he's in there alone. The person that he thought was supposed to be like his handler, maybe he got the wrong person. Maybe getting confused. Maybe the handler is somebody completely separate, but maybe they get killed at some point.
See, what I like is like I like his handler is supposed to be like, oh, your celly will be your handler, so you'll be safe. And then it turns out to be Cobalt Fox, and he's like, you're my handler, and Cobalt's just like laughing, like, oh, you got fucked, kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I really like in the lineup, like going in and body cavity search, whatever, he snitches publicly, and all the other criminals are like, the fuck is this guy doing? And the cop is even like, what are you doing, you dumbass? Like, are you stupid? Like, and the cop's like, kind of looking like, oh, basically wouldn't say thanks. Would basically like maybe it's the cop that beats his ass. You know what I mean? Just for like suggesting that he didn't catch something.
Or maybe they turn their backs while he gets his ass. They know he's about to get his ass beat, and they deliberately turn their backs like
right.
Yeah,
just stop a mud hole in your ass.
Yep.
Romel's over there daydreaming.
No. No, I'm saying they beat his ass to the point to where, but the guards like stop it before they kill him, but he does get his ass beat.
Yeah. What else? What else would be a theme like this whole like let's give it like one or two more like in a the theme. You have a couple of scenes that showcase that in something like a Star Wars, where you had the Mos Eisley bar and
I have a suggestion.
Yeah, go for it.
When you say theme, more like a visual theme or maybe a moral theme. What are you going with?
So the theme that usually happens with like more of like the super heroic stories, which what our general concepts are, is the theme is usually learn to control yourself. So we're showing him not in control of himself in the mindset that he needs to be in, right? Like you're in prison, you're supposed to act like a prisoner, learn to control yourself. Well, he's not. He acts like a cop, so he gets his ass beat because he's like, "Yo, cop. Hey, Johnny guy, like this guy just fucking hit a knife or some shit." Like, so is there another scene or something else that we can kind of show about inside of the learn to control yourself? I mean, you could even have the mentor say, learn to control yourself. You know what I mean? Like he's, he could be tossed into, maybe he gets his ass beat right there and he gets tossed into a cell, meets Cobalt. And meanwhile, he's like bleeding and bloody, and he's just like, screaming for the guard to fucking like call, basically like now he's going to be like, he's going to turn his ire from the criminal who was hiding the knife to the cop who didn't do his job, right? Because this guy's clean cut. This is a law-abiding cop. This guy is like by the book. And this cop just was like, didn't like completely went off script and let him like this is abuse, da 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 da. You're treating prisoners, da da da, like, right? So he's gonna start complaining, right? Like, or something.
This is what I was going to say. What if you had something like a theme kind of like Dante's Inferno, to where let's say for example, he gets his ass beat. I mean, royally gets his ass beat. So he gets sent to the infirmary, where he's gauze everywhere, but they were able to save his eyes. So he's sitting there. He doesn't know the difference between when he's awake and when he's dreaming. And he has this guy that's talking to him that he could hear, but he can't see. So this is kind of, you have this voice, so to speak, and that's kind of his handler or contact or whatever. And they're having a conversation. So he's telling them, hey, how you used to do things is not how it's done in here. You're not on the outside. You're basically within the Inferno. And maybe he read Dante's Inferno or something like that, and they kind of play along with it. Yeah, well, I'm whatever. What's the guy, the poet he met? If you ever read Dante's Inferno, so the guy doesn't tell him his real name. He just goes by the name of the poet in that particular story that he's familiar with, and everybody represents different characters in that particular work. Dante's Inferno. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Interesting. Okay, so inside of the hero's want, inside of breaking into two, you've got you've got the hero wants to find the killer. And he has a clue because we gave it to him. And then the problem is that he's now a criminal. He's a human cop in a world of superpowered criminals. That's the other thing. Like, he's gonna have to get his ass beat by a superpowered person without getting murdered. So maybe as he's about to die, that's when the cops kind of like pull him off. You know what I mean? What was it, Ramel? In terms of the Dante's Inferno, like, say that again. Like, how did you frame some of the things from Dante's Inferno?
Well, basically, in Dante's Inferno, depending on which work you go by, he enters into hell,
right?
And he has a guide, and kind of, you know, whatever. While he's talking with this one guy, he read Dante's Inferno, so he's referring to these particular characters, like from the book or whatever, and they like kind of go along with it, like, well, yeah, such and such and such. So they're like kind of playing along with it. But basically, in Dante's Inferno, what he does, he has to descend further and further through the multiple rings of hell until he actually gets to the devil himself, which represents a prize or something like that. We can kind of play with it, but basically, it's like as he's descending and he's into hell, so to speak, he's learning his true self. It's like he's discovering more about exactly who he is, while they're actually stripping away some of the privileges and good things about him in order for him to emerge, well, for him to realize the man that he actually is. It's like you've only been this guy because of the privileges you've been handed.
Right.
But what type of person are you when these privileges are stripped away and you really have to deal with the real world?
Right.
That type of thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, you break the human down to its bare components and build them back up.
Right.
All right, cool. So I think for now, so fun and games. So we're moving into we've got him in prison. He's entered prison, and so now there's two things that happen kind of at the same time between, you know, for basically the next like 20 minutes, I guess, if you were gonna call it a film, which for me it's easier to define. But basically, you have fun and games. The fun and games are the trailer moments, and then the B story. The B story is the love story. It doesn't necessarily, a love story, a quote unquote love story, doesn't necessarily need to be like a romance. So fun and games is basically the hero's training, and I have some outlines that we could use to craft some scenes or some actions for that. The B story is the love interest, if there is one. So when life gets rough, when he's bruised from the training the mentor's been giving him, and he feels the urge to doubt himself or quit, the hero goes back to the love interest, where his bruises are mended, his spirits bucked up, and the audience, like the hero himself, is reminded why he was chosen in the first place. In the Avengers, Tony Stark tells Bruce Banner that the Hulk, Bruce's other guy, saved Bruce's life for a reason, and Bruce needs to find out what it is. And Tony, to Bruce's surprise, doesn't seem afraid of the idea. Right? So it doesn't have to be like an actual romance. It can actually be like an emotional journey. It's the internal story. The other thing that's interesting is that you have in Fun and Games, I'll just tell you what Fun and Games is. So Fun and Games is basically like 4 parts. There's 4 different types of Fun and Games. It's just the trailer moments. Anytime you see a trailer, everything that's in the trailer, almost always, if it's a good movie, is just pulled out of Fun and Games, right? It's the action stuff. It's literally Fun and Games. So there's the hero's training, which is where the hero learns all of the complementary skills that are part of the expanded new world, and which will help him overcome obstacles. And we can dive deeper into that. The A story, which is the villain's move. While the hero is off learning his new skills, the villain is on the move. We usually see bits and pieces of the plan, but not the end game. And then it talks about the hero or the mentor, and we can talk about that. The trial run, which is the hero tries out his new powers for real. The scene is flashy, sometimes hilarious, and always exhilarating. But it's a mixed bag of success and failure. The easy ones that I remember, like in the Spider-Man movie, like I think the original one, Peter like has the costume on and he shoots the web and he just like tries to swing for the first time and he just falls into like a trash can. Almost the identical same thing happens to Neo. Remember when he's like trying, he's like, okay, I can jump across these buildings, and he jumps and he just falls and bounces off the ground, right? So that's the trial run. And then what it's all about. At some point in pretty much every story except romantic comedies, there's a moment where everyone stops, takes a break, and explains to each other and to the audience what it's really about. This is not just what each side plans to do, but why. And the interesting thing is, inside of Fun and Games, the order is almost always training, and then the A story, trial runs, and B story. So you train, and then there's the villain's move, basically, to kind of put you in that shot. And then there's a trial run where the hero is testing out their new powers or kind of trying to go forward. And then there's the B story, which is sort of the emotional tie-in of kind of like what you learned. So there's a lot that goes into it. But really, at the end of the day, I think if we just like go through the cycle once or twice, we probably have enough for stuff. Do we have like for Fun and Games just off the top in terms of, and we can decide if it's training or if it's trial run, if it's A story or B story, that we can kind of figure out here in a minute. But for Fun and Games, like we said, and this is you guys were already talking about Fun and Games when we were talking about Catalyst. So murder rap triggers Fun and Games. So he's accused of horrible crimes. His mother dies or is killed. His wife leaves him. He learns that he's been watched for a while. Those things can kind of be villain moves right there. You know what I mean? That is the villain move actions, right? Because he's gonna do stuff in prison and train, and he thinks everything is cool. And then all of a sudden he realizes that he's actually he doesn't even know why he's in prison, really. And all of a sudden he realizes he's been accused of horrible crimes, right? Maybe there's like a caseworker or something that's in the prison, or maybe that's where we meet the psychologist, or something. And then, he learns that he's been, then his wife leaves him, he trains some more and his wife leaves him. He trains some more and then he learns that he's been watched for a while. So these are all like little, I always like to think of like this stuff, the Fun and Game stuff is almost like the missions you do in games. Like, you're playing a good game and it's like, cool, get the canister from room 6A. And you go there and you have to fight and kind of maneuver and you get that canister. And then there's like you learn a little bit more about the story. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're like pushed back and you do another mission, right? So these are kind of those missions that lead up to the next level.
Kind of like an escape room.
Yeah, kind of, exactly. I mean, it's the action, like the trailer action that that you would see in a trailer, but it's also serves a purpose, which is like, this is a person who's not ready to be a hero, so they have to. This is like a slow rollout of a training montage mixed with emotion and also what the villain's doing. So does anyone besides me want to take a shot at that? Some of that. Again, we don't have to completely define stuff, but if we just throw out some ideas, if you have an idea for training, A story, trial run, B story. I think
just a reminder, the training that he's going through is to make him into a villain.
Right.
This is not him training to be a hero. This is training to be a villain.
We can set it up to make it look that way. because we still had the idea that he's still trying to get to this prisoner. So breaking and entering, or putting someone in a chokehold and making them pass out. Like, these are not things a cop should do.
Hiding
right?
hiding contraband.
Hiding contraband to get information. Exactly. Like, yeah, Andrew's exactly right. He's training to be a criminal. But well, let's go for it. Let's write down some training stuff. I'm just gonna go. I'll call it B story. We'll call this trial run or training. And then we've got trial run. And then we've got training. And we've got, I'm going to call this A story because this is totally the bad guy stuff. This is the fun stuff. A story. And then we've got trial run and B story.
Hey, quick question. Is this prison within city limits?
Yes, but it's hidden.
Like a black site?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ramel, one of the things that we talked about is like maybe it's even under the Statue of Liberty. And it's also one of the things that might be disclosed is that it's actually used as almost like a training ground / fight club for superpowers people. So like at some point you might see heroes visit the jail, like actual superheroes, maybe superheroes that we know, and they're actually like training to be like the way to train to be in the Avengers. Instead of having like a danger room, you're actually beating the shit out of criminals in prison, right?
That's ugly. I like it.
Right? Like you're actually beating,
Yeah,
you're fucking fighting, like have fun, get real.
Yeah, fight in a controlled situation, fighting real supervillains that know how to use their powers.
Yeah.
Not a simulation.
Yeah.
That could definitely be fun and games. That actually might be training. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the great thing is that like at some point there's a threat. I mean, if we set that up correctly, at some point it makes sense that he gets tossed into the ring and has to fight like basically Captain America or some shit. You know what I mean? Like he's a human. Like he's not a supervillain. He has no fucking powers. And you've got like you basically have like a Homelander on the other side of you, like ready to.
Homelander would wash his ass.
Right?
Yeah, wash his ass. Wait,
basically.
what? Wash his ass?
Yeah.
No, never mind. It's a term. It's a term.
I know what he means. Like
every supervillain's got to have some type of weakness. Maybe before he gets thrown into this pit, Cobalt Fox gives him some advice, and everybody has a weakness, and he knows it all. Maybe it's something simple like somebody's afraid of salt, or somebody's afraid of, it could be stupid shit.
Yeah.
But maybe he's, maybe in his pocket he's got a package of salt, and if he throws it in somebody's face, they lose their powers or their head explodes or something, But
KG says Homelander's
got to have a weakness.
I mean, it could be something simple as being colorblind or something like that.
Well, we can figure out that later because he's not going to get tossed in there right now. His training is going to be like to like get water or something, or watch the fight, or he learns how to do something. The training is like complementary skills. Let's see. we see the hero get his butt kicked frequently and awesomely by better trained co-villains, in this case by the mentor, even minions. Let's see. I'll read you some examples. Spoiled prince heroes, having shunned or been shunned by their rightful world, doubt their own abilities and hide their true identity through their skills, habits, and or speech, or though their skills, habits, and or speech might hint at the truth. This is Thor. This is Lion King. Some humble commoners think they can be the hero, but acknowledge they still have a long way to go. That's Captain America. That's Mulan. Others don't have much of an opinion either way, but have a mentor who believes in them, and for them, despite everyone else's doubts. That's Matrix. And even fallen superheroes get taken back to school, either by the thing that grounded them, Iron Man 2, or by the need to train the apprentice in Zorro. So there's I mean, the great thing in Matrix is awesome, because if you actually read this stuff and you watch Matrix is literal. Like what happened? What's the training in Matrix? Well, it's literally the dojo where they're training, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know Kung Fu, right? And then they start fighting. And then the trial run is when he jumps off and he fails. So, the training for the Supermax, he doesn't even have to be the training for the Supermax, but it could be like he has to learn something, and then there's a trial run, and it could be, in the trial run should probably be like maybe he's trying to find the prisoner and ends up like getting caught or something, or right, something like that. That makes sense. Somebody's mic is cracking. I don't know who that is.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'll give you a scenario of how this one show did. It was a really good show. It was called Banshee. It was kind of unique because the one guy was he was a master thief, and he got caught.
That's the same dude that was Homelander, right?
Yeah, same guy. That's
Homelander. I saw the first episode. I haven't seen the series yet.
Interesting.
Well, what happened was in that season, he was in prison. He had got caught and he was in prison. So the guy he stole from, which was like bald white rabbit or something like that, those are his people in jail. And I guess he got this one big albino dude that was going to rape him. He was like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna rape you." So of course, Homelander didn't want to be raped at that particular time. So he had a brilliant plan because physically he was outmatched. There was no way he was going to beat that guy. So he was so brilliant that what he did was he attacked that one guy's boyfriend. And they sent him to solitary. So while he was in solitary, he used that time to train, just his body to get physically stronger. And I think he got out and he still wasn't strong enough. So he did something else and they put him back in solitary. So all this time he was in solitary, that guy's still waiting on him. He's like, "Look, as soon as you get out, it's still going down." So when he got out, he was stronger than when he went in, but his intellect allowed him to beat the guy. So it was really clever how he did it. But that's a good series though, Banshee. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
I have to watch that. Yeah.
And what I liked about it was that they gave him a name, but never throughout the series did they ever tell you his real name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was one of those things that was it was ambiguous, and they never disclosed it. You had a couple key characters that kind of knew his original past, but they never said his name. And even in the last episode, you thought he was going to say it, and he never did.
So cool. All right, I've heard a lot of. You're not the only one that's told me that was a good series.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I got a mute. Fuck.
What?
What was that?
What was that?
He just hurt himself.
Interesting.
Wait, should we? I almost feel like we should focus on Rommel just for.
What? What was that voice?
I don't know, dude.
That was like.
All I know is we were just talking about albino rape, and all of a sudden, Rommel's voice went really high.
That was Rommel?
Yeah.
That sounded like a girl.
No, it looked like he hurt himself. I don't know. I hope he's all right. He hit something somewhere.
Was it his testicles?
Probably. Look at him.
Did you sit on him, bro?
No comment.
Did you drop something heavy on yourself or something hot?
Yeah. Serves you right for having your shotgun in between your legs, bro.
Avery, he dropped something on his prison wallet.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
No.
Man.
Y'all are so funny. Charlie Horse.
Oh, that hurts. That's the worst.
That was really
sorry,
high
dude.
pitched for a Charlie horse, bro. Was it in your gooch?
Oh boy.
KG is enjoying it, by the way.
I'm in so much pain. I can't even turn on my camera right now.
That's all right, man. Stand up, walk around, dude. I get Charlie horses at night. That shit launches me out of bed. That's all right. I'm gonna mute your mic for a minute, bro. We'll give you a little bit of peace.
That's so funny in the fact that when I was in high school, prior to meeting you guys, I was a swimmer, and we used to get cramps and Charlie horses and shit like that all the time, to the point where nowadays, when I get them, I know how to release the muscles so that it doesn't last very long, and it's almost impossible to explain it to somebody. But I've had times where I'll wake up in the middle of the night screaming because I'll have a muscle spasm or a muscle ache. And I literally, the wife is like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Give me a second. I just got to release it." And
Andrew.
That's how you ended up with 2 kids.
I'm being serious.
This is a sad story.
Give me a minute. I got to release it.
Yeah, you should know better, Andrew.
Release the muscle. Release
Yeah,
the
for-
spasm.
No, it's true. You just have to.
You're not helping.
I'm not fixing this
No,
story, am I?
I think what Andrew's trying to say is when that happens, you just have to rub one out.
Oh boy.
That is absolutely not what I'm saying.
This is a family friendly show.
KG
Not
says,
anymore.
KG says, "Bah, just release it, Drew." All right. Well, we will pray for Rommel's swift return after he walks that Charlie horse off. Do we have back to serious mode?
Yeah, I think you lost us. We're gone.
I know. We're so close to going off the rails for a minute. It's fine. We can go off the
For a
rails.
minute.
We've been doing pretty good. We've actually been doing pretty good. If there's something else you want to talk about for a minute, we can. Other than that, other than going off the rails and talking about something else, we could talk about the trial run of the B story.
Yeah, okay. What's that?
I don't know. I mean, the trial run, I think, is him trying and failing. I'm just not sure what he would try. Like maybe he's trying to learn something or pick a lock, or he's just not. But he's not a criminal, so it doesn't go well.
The B story is he finds out who it is he's supposed to find, and now he has to try to get to that person.
Well, the B story is the love interest.
Well, the psychiatrist can be the love interest, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But maybe she helps point him in the right direction. She helps point him towards the guy that he needs to find, who might have the answers to the question, who killed his dad and why and so forth.
Yeah, and all the ins and outs of what actually goes on in that prison.
Yep. That could be the gladiator pits and all that good stuff. He's got to survive that to get to this guy.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think at least at this stage, though, I think you're right. I think it's the psychiatrist has entered here, but I think she is at this point, she's literally just a psychiatrist. Or
well, maybe she hints that she's attracted to him. And he's still got a wife out there, even though at this point the wife has left him. And he can't contact her because the shadow group that sent him in, he knows they're watching her. And the only way to keep them off of her is for them to be done.
I don't know how to spell.
Oh, maybe that is part of his own doing. Her separation and leaving him. Ooh, that could be an interesting twist, you know? Maybe in order to protect her, he's the one that initiates the breakup and maybe scares her away. Ooh.
Say that again?
You're just going to have to rewatch the stream, buddy.
No. I was trying to figure out
No, I'm saying remember there's a point where the lawyer, the public defender comes to him and says, "Hey, your mom died and that was us. Get back on the plan, finish your mission, or your wife is next." And he says, "I've got to find a way to get them to not focus on her." And maybe their breakup, the dissolving of the marriage, maybe all that is he initiates it, not she just gets so upset with him that she leaves him. Maybe he literally says, "I don't love you," or something like that. He has the conversation that makes her leave and goes away, period. I think maybe that makes a more valid sense. He's got to sever those ties in order to become the villain we know he's going to become. He can't get out of prison and still have a wife. He can't get out of prison and still have people to go to. His mother's dead. His wife has now left him. And maybe that was his doing. Maybe that was his way of getting her away. Have you guys ever seen the movie Whiplash? None of you have seen it. It's a fantastic movie. And there's a part in it where the main character, who's a drummer and he's trying to become the best drummer ever and whatnot, he sits down with his girlfriend. They've been dating for a while. And he tells her, he says, "Listen, what's going to happen with our relationship is I'm going to focus on my career in drumming. You're going to resent me. You're going to guilt me. And and it's going to come between us and it's going to tear us apart and all this." And he says, "Instead of letting all that happen, I'm just going to break up with you right now." And she's like, "What? What are you talking about?" This is literally our character's breaking up with his wife, but he's got to do something, like maybe even attacks her. Maybe when she's visiting him in jail, he's like, "You've got to leave me. I'm this crazy ass psycho man, whatever." And she's like, No, I still love you." Maybe he attacks her to convince her, like, he's not going to hurt her, but he lunges at her. Maybe he tries to bite her or something, maybe some craziness. And she's like, this is not the man I married. I've got to leave. I'm out of here. I'm moving back to California. I'm going to live with my parents, blah, blah, whatever it is. But he figures that's the best way to protect her from the group that's destroying his life. Because if he's not careful, they will kill her, period. Because he already knows they're vindictive enough to do that. This group that he agreed to do this with is not the angels, you know? They're definitely not the good guys. And maybe he's piecing things together. Maybe this is part of Plan B and the fact that he sees them for what they really are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the reasons why at the end of the story, when he escapes from prison and they're there to pick him up, right, and take him to his new life or whatever, he goes the other direction because he knows he'll always be under their thumb. He'll always be under their control. He needs to be his own person, his own villain.
Right.
Maybe they're the ones that actually creates this villain who will end up being their downfall in the end. You know?
Yeah, that's what usually happens. And I mean, Andrew, we're on the exact same page. As you were saying it, I was thinking it as you were saying it. I 100% agree with him initiating the breakup, like, because a lot of times at visitation, depending on how dangerous you are, they have you shackled. Maybe tries to strangle her with his shackles or something like that.
Oh, maybe he has like some type of restraints and he literally tries to bite through the restraints to get to her. And she's like, I got to get out of here. I got to leave. Maybe even the security guards come in and have to beat the shit out of him into submission to protect her from him. And it's literally him acting in order to scare her into leaving, because she's not going to do it. She's behind him 100%. I one time asked my wife, I said, honey, if I decide and I become a serial killer, will you stand behind me in court and, be, and she said, no, absolutely not. And I went, well, there goes that career opportunity. Screw it. Now I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, this is it. This is it. She's going to stand by him no matter what until he breaks her heart and breaks her. And this is the scene. Oh man, it's a powerful scene. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That definitely feels like the all is lost moment.
You know what would be another really great scene? Switching back to Whiplash real quick. Later on in the movie, he's getting his life together, and his world is turning around and things are starting to look positive. And he literally calls her up and says, hey, how's it going? Listen, I'm performing at this concert center. Would you like to come and be my guest? And she says to him, well, maybe, I don't know. Let me ask my boyfriend. And you can just hear his heart sink. There's a scene in the second story in which he's on the run from the police and he reaches out to his ex-wife and he gets her on the phone and he hears her voice and it makes him feel so good. And then he hears the baby crying in the background. And he just can't say anything. He cannot reveal to her that it's him. He just can't do it. He cannot bring her back into his world. He is once again 100% on his own in this journey. And he ends up just hanging up the phone, never says a word to her. I mean, that's another powerful scene. And I can't wait to see some of these scenes, guys. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah. The actor you're referring to is Miles Teller.
Yes.
He plays
he was fantastic.
J.K. Simmons.
Fantastic. J.K. Simmons won the Oscar for that role too, didn't he?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think so. I think so.
I remember
this was
character.
What show? This was
Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Yeah.
And I have it on Steelbook case, and I bought it because of that.
Really?
And I love the movie. I've watched it. Matter of fact, I watched it like last week. Because it's
I never
movies I could only watch once.
Oh God, the ending is so fantastic.
It's so
and then
good,
he get into like a car crash and still go to his
yes. That's when he lunges at the guy and tries to kill him in the middle of the stage but he's Rommel, it's a good flick.
I'm not piecing that together because I remember he's playing and they kind of black out his performance. It's just him and just they black out everybody else and he gets kind of pissed like, what are you doing? That type thing.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. That's the end. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, he has his I'm the greatest moment, and it's fantastic. Even though J.K. Simmons is like a horrible, horrible person, there's a level of respect that comes out of his face at the end that just it makes the whole thing worth it.
That's awesome.
Well, when they introduce his character, like when they first introduce him, remember he's in the band room, and as soon as he walks in, everybody stands immediately up.
Yep.
So you get an idea of what he commands or what he expects from his students. And Miles Teller, he's like totally lost, like, oh, I guess I need to be standing right now. That type shit.
Yep. It's a good flick. I highly recommend it. If you watch it and don't like it, you have no soul.
I will burn down your bookstore. How about that?
Oh, so if we don't like it, you'll burn down Andrew's bookstore. Got it. Cool. I'm down with that. That movie sucked.
Yeah. That movie sucked. Oh well.
You know, I knew I had insurance on my store for a reason. It's because of my friends.
That's right.
My accountant was so smart to tell me to do that.
Not far from the truth, actually.
All right, wrap it up, big boy.
All right. So let's see what we got. So we got training. I think there is something definitely in there with the real superheroes learning to use their powers via Supermax Fight Club. That's definitely fun and games. I think we'll figure out some more things. Usually this is the fun and games section is the entire takes that entire bottom quadrant, the bottom right quadrant. So in a film, it's like 20 minutes long. It's like 25 minutes long. So we can come up, like, if you think about it, we came up with, like, mother is killed, wife leaves him, learns that he's been watched for a while, accused of horrible crimes. Right there, each one of those is, if you had each one of those as a scene, that right there is a good piece of time. And then we can kind of add in one or two training things, one or two trial runs, a couple instances of a B story interaction. Because like by the time we get to the midpoint, the next step is the midpoint of the movie, quote unquote movie, the story. So by the time the midpoint happens, the psychologist is in this with him. He's been learning. He really gets to understand the ways, like how you work. Like really a lot of the training as well, now that I think about it, is also like life in prison, right? Like, this is a cop. Like, he doesn't know how to behave. Like, what does it involve?
Yeah.
And how does basically an innocent cop, right?
I can tell you rule number one: never drop the soap.
That's right. Well, unless you want an albino boyfriend.
Yeah.
What does it involve, and how does an innocent cop not handle it, but like integrate, right?
Well, here's the thing though. If he's just a regular guy, and he's in a prison basically filled with villains, he's not going to do it via physical prowess, because they'll just pound him in the dirt. So maybe what we could say is what we could say is that his handler or Cobalt Fox or whoever's helping him surreptitiously helps him to win, either by maybe slipping him maybe by either fixing the fights or doing something to the opponents to make them weaker, or better yet, make them weaker, or perhaps better yet by training him to saying that you can't beat these guys physically, but maybe you can beat them via cunning. Don't outfight them, outthink them. And maybe that's part of the train. That's the big part of the training right there. On the outside, he was basically a super cop who was basically put the hurt on the people he was going after. Inside here, he can't do that, so he has to instead, don't go toe to toe, fight dirty, or better yet, don't fight at all. Arrange it so that others fight for you. Kind of like, you guys have seen Game of Thrones, right? Because the more I'm reading this, then the more I'm seeing the way Cobalt Fox works and the way this guy is, I see Cobalt Fox as kind of like a more badass Littlefinger.
Mm-hmm.
He's a super villain, but he's not like Bane. He's the guy who pulls Bane's strings.
Right.
Maybe this guy's training in here is not to make him into a super badass killer, but although he will become that eventually, but to teach him how to basically be the guy who doesn't have to do his own killing, because he has people because he's able to get people to do it for him. Maybe that's what his training is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
That's pretty cool. That definitely fits into fun and games. Is like, he has to learn about life in prison, and really up until that point, he probably only knows like what he saw on TV or like just basic training or something. You know what I mean?
Well, it's more so life without privilege. So it's life in prison, but it's life without privilege, because like I said, on the outside he has access to so many different privileges, but what type of man are you when all these things are stripped from you? Because I mean, like if what they always say is look, if somebody confronts you in the street, you can always pull a gun, but in prison there are no guns. You have to use your hands. So you get stripped of certain things to defend yourself. So it's man on man.
Right.
Phrasing.
Avery.
What?
Don't worry about Ramel. We're skipping.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
That totally went over my head.
Outthink or Fight Dirty, Life Without Privilege. That's actually really interesting because he's going to learn exactly how good he had it, right? And maybe that's actually one of the things that we have to add way back in the beginning, or like the 6 things that need fixing. And so he's just like, maybe he takes it a little bit for granted. You know what I mean? Let's see. Not take life. He takes his Ramel, if for privilege, like he takes, what is it that he takes for granted? It's not that he takes his life for granted. It's that he takes.
Well, it's more so like, say, he's deep down psychologically, he's a man of very little worth. So he surrounds himself with just things like a beautiful wife, a nice home, cars, just a bunch of luxury in order to make himself feel better. Because it's like when you have no personal self-worth, then you see outside influences in order to create worth that was never really originally there. So once you have that eternal worth or whatever, all that other stuff is insignificant, and it really doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, you can't take it with you.
Right. Surrounds himself with luxury things to fill the gap of personal self-worth. That's interesting. I think we can revisit that for sure.
Yeah, because like I said, with his father, his father, whatever, they were nurturing family, but he never really had to, just, work as hard as somebody that actually came from nothing.
Right. Right. That's a good point. All right. So I got something for you guys. This is completely off script, but we got about 10 minutes left. Well, a couple minutes left. We got like 2 minutes left, but we'll talk for a minute. I found something that I shared on my stream yesterday, but I figured I would share with you guys because I want a live reaction, because I know what I think I know what the reaction is going to be. This is some nerd shit. So apologies to this is going to be what we can talk about this. This will start a conversation. So, do you guys know who Harlan Ellison is?
Yes.
No.
I know who he is.
Okay.
Does he do porn?
No. No, he's a science fiction writer.
He's a science fiction writer.
Okay.
But he's
I've heard the name then.
he's a science fiction writer, but he's like a deep nerd. Like he, used to write on Star Trek. Like he's been around forever. And I believe he passed away, and I think, apologies if you're still alive, Harlan, but I think he passed away, and his estate is going up for sale, regardless of whether he's living or dead. His estate and his art collection, his comic collection, he was a nerd like us, is going up for sale on Heritage auctions. And one of the things that came up, actually, you know what? Let me, yeah, okay, I can show it to you. Okay. One of the things that came up was this. Oh, let's see. Let me do.
Oh, first issue was Spawn.
Second issue. This is the original art to the second issue of Spawn.
Wow,
Isn't that awesome?
that is pretty awesome.
That's cool.
It's crazy. It was hand colored.
Yeah, this is airbrush, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's my zoom is acting up. I don't know why. I can't zoom in. There we go. So this was like over McFarlane's actual artwork, like his inks. So I believe those are his real inks, and then the airbrush is over it, and that's like the real signatures. So this is like a legit McFarlane with like legit airbrush paint over it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I saw that and I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty bonkers, dude.
it's gonna go, and it's like signed on the back to Harlan from Stacy, whatever. But 1992. But like, I never knew that it was airbrushed. I always wondered how that cover was done because it was such a good cover.
Mm-hmm.
I should have known it was airbrushed because that back is obviously airbrushed. But you know, when you see it on a comic page on a cover, you're like, oh, that's computer coloring or something.
Yeah, the computer coloring was new to us too. So, you know what? I think I remember hearing that was airbrushed.
Yeah,
I mean, my memory's a little foggy. You know, that was the early '90s.
because he did the first. You know, he did the first. Was it the first two or the first three?
I can't remember, but that was where what was it? What's the technique they used with the color layering? I remember that was fairly new.
Oh yeah. The color separation stuff.
Color separation. That was it was fairly new, but not perfected.
Yeah, KG says badass. Yeah, man, this is like legend shit. Like, look at the details. You know, and the crazy thing is like there is no like number one, the cover to issue number one, you know, McFarlane owns. Like, there's no doubt. Like, that dude didn't get rid of any of his artwork. So for this cover to be owned by Harlan Ellison or like a, you know, or now up for sale, this thing's gonna go for a fortune, man.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna go for a fortune. He has a really good collection, man.
And he probably only sold it to Harlan Ellison because it was Harlan, you know, it was someone like that wanted it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like a Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing. Like, he was a nerd, dude. He had
damn.
You want to see it?
Yes.
Hey, man, it's the end of the show. It's the end of the Lore Games. We can hop into some comics. It's cool.
Dude. I would still want it, even though it's not a major Swamp Thing page. Still
Look
to
at
have
that, dude.
Still to have a Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing.
Look at that hand.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that face.
Yeah, that's so good.
It really is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
God. Yeah, there was some we were going through this yesterday on the stream. There's a bunch of good stuff, man. There was what else do you have? Something Sienkiewicz, Superman.
Oh, you know, I'm a Sienkiewicz guy.
Yeah, it's a okay piece.
Yeah, it's not a great Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, it's like a you know, it's like that. It's an okay
that's
piece. Like,
that's
man,
more of a lazy Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, dude, he had the original, the Frank Miller.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's so cool, right? I was looking at this last night because this is the original.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I bet the way he got these lines is he just used streamlining tape. Like he actually used like different
or
thickness
masking
of face.
fluid or something, or
Yeah, well, that's like perfect. It's a perfect line, and he's not a perfect. He's not a perfect artist.
no.
So he just like laid out tape and cut all this out on the perspective grid, and then just painted black over the whole thing, right? And then just like inked his character, and boom, you got this really cool layout. Isn't that neat?
It is cool.
Cool.
It is cool. Yeah, he probably used tape or masking fluid or something. Yeah.
Something, yeah. We talked about Windsor McKay last night, and that was awesome. Kevin McGuire, got Kirby, Sam Keith.
Sam Keith. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Right? He did he had this cover. It's a Marvel. Look at that paste up. I love that paste up. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
This is a look at that Doctor Strange.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Look at those folds.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so good. Just perfect. Incredibly perfect composition, man. Incredibly perfect composition.
Yeah, and pretty gutsy because he broke a rule. He drew the character from the back. You don't see the character's face, and it's still cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then this one I love. Like, I'll show you one that I was like,
Oh wait,
shit.
what was that?
Hold on. I'll show you, but I want to show you this first. Check out this Gil Kane. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Look how cool that is, man.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
good.
like some alien fighting a greaser.
With
I love this.
a greaser
dude.
with a switchblade fighting this like gladiator alien. That's crazy.
It kind of reminds me of the story that we're doing, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, really, it's like this. There's no way this dude has a chance.
Hopelessly outmatched guy. Yeah.
It's kind of got a Frazetta feel to it also.
Yeah, I love this. I'm kind of keeping my eye on it.
Yeah.
It's totally up my alley. It feels
Sure.
it feels like a more detailed Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
So it's such good art though, like just perfect. What a genius, man. Like a legit genius. And then this is another one. This is the one that Avery was kind of looking at.
Oh, cool. I like it.
You look at the people down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. He was using different pens, and you can see like what
The
didn't
way it
hold up.
aged. Yeah.
Yeah. Just grab whatever you got, you know. Let's see what else we got. This is Karis. There's some other good ones in here. There's a John Byrne Secret Origins cover. Keith Giffen. We were going through some Dave Gibbons Watchmen pages yesterday. Those were great. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and Kevin Nolan from that Dr. Fate.
Wow.
This one's crazy. Look at that shit.
Damn. That almost reminds me of some of the stuff like John Paulion did on that Earth X.
Yeah, for sure.
But way before then. That's way before Earth X.
Hell yeah. Anyway, just wanted to share a couple things. Figured we'd like close the night with some good artwork because, like you always got to, man. Oh, here's a Gene Colan. You probably don't want to see that though, Avery.
Oh no, bullshit.
There's actually a couple. Okay, I'll show you the three Gene Colans. We looked at the
Okay.
Batman. The Batman was really funny. This is an entire book, by the way. It's the entire book.
He has the entire book of a Gene Colan.
The entire issue, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But Carrots actually in Discord actually was cracking on this because I was like talking about the light and the sun. I was pointing out the light on the top. Like the reason you would want to put the front of the buildings in solid black is because it's not about realism, it's about shape and just showing where the light would come from. And he was laughing because the clock on it says 12:03 a.m. So
Yeah.
it's midnight.
So it's the moon. It's not the sun.
Yeah, so it's the moon, but you know, it's still like, but like the shot of like him jumping down
Yeah, it's brilliant.
is brilliant. Check this out, Avery. You get a kick out of this.
Oh, dude.
Look at that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So good.
It's pretty gutsy to draw it that way too.
It really is. And then you got this classic Joe Sinnott colon Captain America, man. Look at that.
Damn.
Joe Sinnott is one of my,
It's that stupid cube thing.
yeah. It's one of my all-time favorite artists, dude. Joe Sinnott, even though he's an inker, basically made everything he touched better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see this? Look at this. You see how it's got this line here and it curves around all the way up here?
Yeah, it's all like one brush stroke.
Down right there. That's one brush stroke, dude. He just, and that's a brush. He used like exclusively a brush.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost, I don't think he might have used pen later on, but this is all brush. And like, I mean, for some things like these lines, it might have been a pen, but like this is like one brush stroke to thin to this crazy thick and then back down to a thin line. So fucking hard, dude. So difficult. And I'm pretty sure he actually used a brush for these lines as well. Like he used to put down, you would put down your ruler, and underneath the ruler you tape pennies, so that the ruler is off the table by like just a little bit, and then you can roll a brush across it, and you can get straight lines.
Yeah.
Without the ink bleeding under the ruler. Crazy stuff, man. So dope.
I've seen people use quill pens that way too.
Yeah. So good. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much, everybody. The Lord Games never disappoints. Guys, I think the story's kind of coming out pretty good, man.
Yeah.
It's getting there. I mean, I see it in my head. I don't know if it's like that for you guys, but I see it in my head. You know, when we're talking about it, I see it. You know, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Dusty, Zach, Flint, Drew, Studio, Ramel, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I think Ramel bounced. I think he probably had a hard exit there. But love you guys. Thank you all so much. KG, Master Chief, Willie D, everybody that showed up tonight. Thank you guys so much. And with that, love you guys. We're getting there, man. The next installment coming soon. All right. Love you guys. Take care. Happy Thursday. KG says, great stuff, guys. Things are moving. Yeah, thank you, sir. It really is crazy, man.
Thank you.
These are good stories, man. These are really good. Thank you guys for pitching in too. And yeah, love you guys. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace out.